Have you ever had a really bad day and you're totally exhausted and someone asks you what's wrong and you start to tell them and it feels a little better to get it off your chest, but then they start telling you how to fix it? Like, you know what you should do, and you just aren't in a place where you can hear that right now? So you ask them to stop and then they get upset and say, well, I was only trying to help. Or have you ever had a friend vent to you and then when they're done, they look at you like, why don't you have the solution for this? See, what you actually want versus what they think you want, or what you think they want versus what they actually want, can be two totally different things and get totally mixed up. And that can lead to a communication breakdown. So let's have a look at it in Communication Breakthroughs, Episode 1, Complaints Department. Everyone's got problems. Little ones, big ones that last a minute and ones that go on for years. Sometimes they could really use your advice or your help, and sometimes you could really use their shoulder, their advice, or their help. When you go into a restaurant, you don't walk up to the counter and say, well, I only had a salad yesterday and I skipped breakfast this morning, and then get mad at them when they don't realize that it means you want to order an extra large pizza full of the anchovies. You don't expect them to be a mind reader. You tell them what you want and they say okay, or they say we don't have that and you tell them you want something else. We know the rules of communicating there, and to expect them to know what you want without saying what you want seems kind of ridiculous. But that's what we do a lot with each other when it comes to sharing our problems. Not anymore. Basically, there are 4 types of problems. Each one has a specific need. Let's have a look at them from the lowest investment to the biggest investment. Number 1, when a problem isn't really a problem. This is when a person had a problem, but they figured it out, so now it's just a cool story. So they want to share the cool story, and all the other person has to do is sit back and listen. Sounds easy enough, right? It is, except for when the person interrupts them because they're trying to offer what they think is helpful advice, not realizing that the problem is solved. Kind of wrecks the story. Number 2, open the vent. Venting is for little problems that might not even need solutions, or for big problems that need solutions but just not right now. Venting helps to get your thoughts together and get them off your chest. Just having someone there to lend an ear and a shoulder can make you feel better, even if nothing's changed. Number 3, asking for advice. You've had this problem and thought about it, maybe tried different things, and it hasn't worked yet. So you turn to someone whose opinion that you value and you ask them for their advice. Not necessarily that you're going to do it, they say, or even do it right now, but you'd like to hear their opinion to see things maybe from a different angle. Number 4, a call to action. This is when someone tells the background of something that's happening, what they've tried, what they need, and they're actually asking for an action, whether it's to help move, or to babysit, or to lend money. It could be that they need something pretty quickly, and maybe just a yes or no answer would be the best, because if you say no, then they can ask someone else. So if you'll notice, what's being asked of the listener in all 4 of these situations is to listen. Number 1 is just to listen. Number 2 is to listen and empathize. Number 3 is to listen and offer advice. And number 4 is to listen and act. The frustration and the miscommunication happens when what someone's offering isn't what someone asked for. So if they're asking just to be heard and you're trying to fix it, or if they're asking for someone to fix it and you just listen. Have you ever heard or said, I don't want you to fix it, I just want you to listen? Well, that was you asking for a number 2 and them offering a number 4. This can get really upsetting because it's not like you don't care or they don't care, but whoever's got the problem may already have a short fuse and just doesn't have the patience to communicate clearly. Knowing where they are in life can also change things. For example, about 8 years ago, my friend came to visit. She lives out of state, and we hadn't talked for a few months. So I didn't really know what was going on with her. I had just started writing, and I was telling her about, well, I started to tell her about how I'd never made less money in my life, but I had never been happier in my life. But I only got about halfway through, and she interrupted and said, I can't lend you any money if that's where this is going. And I was like, stunned. No, I don't want to borrow any money. But what had happened in her life was that one of her friends had borrowed money from her again and again and again, and and wasn't able to pay it back, and it was a really sore, sensitive spot for her. So she thought she was hearing a number 4. I was really given a number 1, and it kind of just ruined the story. The easiest way for you to get what you want and for them to get what they want is for you to be aware of these 4 types and be able to communicate those with each other. So you can ask them to watch this video, and then you can go by numbers. Like you can say, I need a number 4, and then tell them. Or if that feels weird, you can just introduce your problem. For example, if you want a number 1, you can say, I got it all figured out, but I just want to tell you this cool story. For a number 2, you might say, can I just vent to you? I don't want any advice and I don't want you to fix anything. I just need to get it off my chest. Number 3, you could say, can I ask your advice on something? And number 4, you could say, I need your help if you're able. From there, whether they're able to help you or not, or they're able to give you good advice or not, you'll both know where you're coming from and what you're asking for. No one's gonna have to spend half the story wondering where it's going or trying to figure out what's being asked of them. And sometimes maybe you don't even know what you want until after you've stated the problem, or maybe they don't know what they want. So the most important thing there is to just be able to listen, or to be able to be heard without any interruptions. And then after it's stated, for the other person to say, how can I help you with that? The answer might be nothing. Just listening to me makes me feel better. Just remember, we're in this together. I'm sending you lots of love and hugs, and I'll see you next time.